people here. I feel like I actually need to talk to you a little bit more about this concept of white privilege. And I'm actually wanting again to do another video for you guys here, and I hope you don't mind, but like I said, I'm in my office here. I just closed off everything so I can just basically just dedicate this video just so I can get more focus. I had to close my office door and everything because I want to remain focused in this conversation that I actually want to have with you. You know, I want to go a little bit more in depth with what I'm talking about as far as the concept of white privilege. Like I say, so I mean, one of the main things that we have to understand is that I actually wanted to kind of take it a little bit further as far as, you know, and in the previous video I did define for the most part what white privilege was and pretty much what that's all about and what it entails. But it's also, you know, when you take the concept of white privilege, it can actually branch out into other areas as far as I would say, you know, how folks view us black folks, as you know, as far as what they feel we should deserve and how high we should go in life and everything like that. And what I like to call that is that it's called, what I would like to consider that as, is called institutional racism. And I actually wanted to kind of do a little bit of a video, and I wanted to talk about that with you guys for just a moment. So, you know, I just wanted to kind of get a bit comfortable and explain this. One of the main things that we have to understand again is that, you know, with the concept of white privilege, we already know that for the most part that that's a privilege for white folks to get certain services and everything that they feel that they are entitled to simply because of the fact that they are white. And basically, just kind of listening to that concept alone, it branches out into other areas as far as, you know, living in society, as far as housing, education, bank loans, you know, and you know, all this other type of stuff that we blacks also want to be a part of. And the thing about it again is that when we say institutional racism, what we're meaning is that they're taking the process or the mindset of what racism is and applying it to other areas in life that we also have to use in order to live. Like I said, you got healthcare, you got, you know, a lot of different things, jobs and all this other type of stuff that we have to have in order to live too. But again, when you're talking about it on the institutional level, like institutional racism, it's actually given on a bigger scale. One of the main things, again, that really prompted me to do this video, again, is the slide that I actually showed you right before, you know, I sat down and did this video. And the thing about it is that you still have white folks that are, for the most part, living in denial. And the thing about it, again, is that I hate when folks can see things and it's right in their face, but they still deny what they're seeing. I don't know if they really don't see it and they're that dumb, or if they really just choose not to see it and just want to act like it just doesn't exist, you know? But whether or not they want to choose to acknowledge it or not, we still have to understand that institutional racism is here just like white privilege. And the thing about it, again, is that we're coming now, it's like history is repeating itself, where the issue and the open discussions about racism are starting to come to the forefront once again. One of the main things that we have to understand is that I would get angry when I would hear white folks, for the most part, say that, you know, oh, get over it, you know, racism is dead and all this other type of stuff. But the issue is that with us black folks, we got to understand something. And I'm not a dummy, and I'm not going to get angry. Or I'll say this. I won't say that I won't get angry, but I try to go back and actually dissect the situation and look at it and handle it from an intelligent standpoint. I cannot actually control how other people think. And the thing about it, again, is that, yeah, we're living in a new age, a technological age, where, you know, where, you know, you would think that everybody is equal and everything like this. But we see now that America, the world, is starting to revisit the concept of racism. And the sad part about it, again, is that, well, let me take that back. I shouldn't say the sad part. I would say the good part about this whole thing is that even though, you know, it's unfortunate that blacks have to lose their lives at the hand of white folks, this movement with Black Lives Matters is actually forcing white folks to come clean, just like I mentioned in the previous video. And the thing about it, again, is that you may have some whites that are saying that, oh, you know, there's no such thing as white privilege and stuff, but you also have some that are saying, yes, there is. And because of that, I can show you that there is, because I'm an example of that. And, you know, some people may get angry. Some people may get dismayed. But see, the way I handle the situation, I try not to really show much emotion in this, even though it does bother me, because the issue is that when you're trying to take something and actually force somebody to see something, you know, you want them to get it. You understand? Look at what it is. How can you say that racism it doesn't exist? When you see the disparities in paychecks, you know, healthcare, even with this COVID-19 testing here in my city, it was a big issue about this. You know, everything now is black and white. Everything now is being talked about on the black and white scale. They were talking about it from the viewpoint, that COVID-19 testing is actually limited in predominantly black neighborhoods. But at the same time, they are readily available to people in affluent communities that is mainly, quote unquote, occupied by white folks. And see, one thing about it again is that I don't know what it is about black, but the thing about it is that they figure that anything that's black is bad. And growing up, I had to deal with racism. I mean, like I say, what black person hasn't? I mean, and the thing about it again, my parents and my grandparents would tell me stories about ways when they would go to school and, and they had to deal with, the comments of racism and everything like that. And the issue is that some of the things that you would tell you, it would break your heart because you would think, how can other folks actually treat somebody else like that over something that they can't control, which is the color of their skin? So not only do you not like me because of the color of my skin, now you're going to cause this dislike to affect the way that I have to live. And I have to live. I gotta eat, I gotta sleep, I gotta work, I gotta do everything that the average white person has to do. But because of institutional racism, you're trying to deny me those rights. And it's not right. So you got these people that are living in la la land, all of these high, class and, I guess prominent members of society, some of these white folks, they're to say, oh, black people is making this stuff up. There's no such thing as institutional racism and stuff. It doesn't exist and stuff. I beg to differ. I tell you what, come and look at my paycheck and look at yours. And we got the same education, probably went to the same school, but yet still look who has, the better paying job, who's making more money. Look at who doesn't have to struggle, or who has to actually jump through hoops just to get the same thing that you didn't even have to work as hard at all to get. But yet still you say that we're all equal. One thing that I don't understand, and the thing about it now is that, I have to sit back and think about is that when the issue with the Black Lives Matter movement got off the ground, with the murder of Trayvon Martin, and I'm pretty sure that everybody knows that story, with the dude that actually had the white Mexican or whatever you did that kept following him because he actually profiled him as a thug and ended up shooting him and killing him. That's when, the birth of the Black Lives Matter. But, it's an insult to me, and I may actually upset some people, but I really don't care because I'm going to speak my piece. This is my video. It insults me when somebody says all lives matter. I need to take a drink on this one. All lives matter. And the plight of the situations that we're going through right now with police brutality, where they are actually targeting young black men. And you can't say that they haven't, because even since this has started to happen, I've had members of my church, who actually were targeted by police. Black men pulled over because they were profiled because they figured that they were in a certain neighborhood that they shouldn't belong in, or they were driving a certain car that the police felt that they could not afford. But when you're talking about all lives matter, that tells me right there that, number one, you don't care about anything having to do with me and the black struggle. That's what that tells me. Whether you mean it or not, that's the message that it says. It was good for what it is when this mantra, or this meme, if you will, first came out, all lives matter. I get that. But when you actually tell the average black person, especially in the situation that we're going through now, that all lives matter, you will be liable to get slapped in your face. Because number one, you're taking away the fact of the men that are being killed every day by overzealous cops simply because they happen to have a badge and a gun. It doesn't matter what type of person they are. They can be somebody's father, somebody's brother, somebody's uncle. But all of that doesn't matter because they happen to be black. Whoop-de-doo, okay, I'm sorry they lost a life. But what about the life of the cop? I am not concerned about the life of a cop because the issue is they're not the ones that's dying right now. The black folks, the young black men of America are the ones that's dying right now. Their lives are the ones that matter. So miss me with all of that all lives matters crap, because that takes away from the fact and try to negate the fact and try to focus our attention on another issue than what we're facing right now, which is the killing of our young black men or black men in general. And it really surprises me now that, you know, and maybe I should, no, it doesn't really surprise me. You have a lot of white folks now that have lost their minds. So basically now they're actually letting America know what they actually had hidden in their heart the whole time. You got a lot of people that are being exposed with racism through texts and secret conversations and all this other type of stuff that somehow has been exposed to America. So now they're having to resign from different high-level positions because they were caught saying the wrong thing. See, one thing about it, the Bible teaches us, and I don't care what it is, you always have to include the word of God in this. And I'm going to tell you something. In the book of Matthew, it tells us that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So that tells us right there that whatever is hidden in your heart, it doesn't matter how long you try to hide that thing, it's going to eventually come out in some way, shape, or form. And it surprises me that you have a lot, well, not too much, but it really takes you by surprise to see the number of people that are actually being outed on social media and on the internet these days for saying racist things. You got people that are in high places that never thought that they could be touched, but now they're having to apologize to save their job, apologize to save their livelihood. But it comes too little too late, because you've already said it, what you said. So now you're trying to sit up there and trying to save face, which is too late now, because now America knows what you're all about. It ain't no accident that all of this type of stuff is happening. It ain't no accident that oops, that slipped. No, you were like that the whole time. It's just the fact that you try to cover it up all these years. And now that we have the Black Lives Matter movements going back into full swing, you can't handle that, because now it takes the power away from you and your kind like you always had, and it's actually focusing on us and our struggle, and you can't have that. So now you're having to act out and say things that are inappropriate. And there's no apology. And if they say it, I mean, the thing about it, I don't have no right to not accept an apology. But the issue is that I smile. Not because it's ha-ha funny. It's because they've actually exposed and showed us what they're truly all about. And the thing about it, again, and I have to keep saying it and preface this, because you got simple-minded folks that will think that, you know, with me saying all this, that I must somehow be racist. I'm not racist, but you are free to think whatever you want. I have friends that comes from all colors of the rainbow. I'm focusing on the few bad ones out there that happens to be white. That's what this conversation is all about. And how those type of people try to infiltrate their hate and spew it out in society to cause black folks to struggle. That's what this whole conversation is all about. That's what this Black Lives Matters movement is all about, is to negate all of this rhetoric that has been in society for years, for centuries, that has caused black folks to have to struggle and work 10 times hard just to get a little bit. It's unfair. I mean, there's nothing that we can do about it because it is what it is. But our legacy, our race, our history has always been plagued with hardships, struggles, trust in the Lord to get us through, and he will see us through. But it's just the fact that we actually have to go through these things on a day-to-day basis. And even now in today's environment, we're still having to do it, but it's dressed up in a different way. Meaning the racism part is dressed up in a certain way. You can't apply for this position because you haven't had that much work experience on this. But yet still you already have somebody picked in line who don't even have the experience that I have, or have 10 times less experience in this thing. And you know I'm qualified. I got the degree. I've proven that I know what I'm talking about. But yet still you want to deny me the fact to get the job because of the fact that my skin happens to be the wrong tone for you. That's why in a sense, all of this can be a blessing too, because again, it's exposing people and showing the disparities of what's going on in the workplace and out in society, which is beneficial to us because that's letting us know that, hey, we're not crazy. We're not making this thing up. It's in your face. America sees it. Donald Trump sees it. But again, I wouldn't expect for him to want to do anything about it because again, you know, these type of things are just a joke to him. These are just little minor protests of people who can't get their way and everything like this. You can say whatever you want. I know the reason why the people are marching. Like I say, you know, black folks, we have a history, and the thing about it is that if there's anybody that should have a close relationship with God, it should be black folks, because God has brought us from a mighty long ways. I'm talking about the black culture. And even though in some cases we're still being used by white folks, we're starting to really break away from that slowly and starting to develop our own ways of thinking, our own schools, our own currency, you know, our own clothing, everything. But the thing about it is that we can't totally escape white America, because guess what? When they see us actually moving up into things that create, they want to become a part of it too. And not only do they want to become a part of it, they want to actually take it over. You have to call it like you see it. I'm not making any of this stuff up. You may hear a bit of a humming sound out there. They're doing some late night road work, I guess, in my neighborhood. But, you know, this whole thing that's going on in America is it's a good lesson to show younger generations of young black men and women that racism is just not something that was just existed in books that you read in school, or that was a part of your American history lesson. It's being played out right now, live and in your face. So what better way to learn this thing than to see it live and in person? The thing about it again is that with all of this being done, what type of lessons are we going to take away from this? The black culture is tired. That's why we're having all of these marches. We're tired of being killed senseless and uselessly, and it's like without any regards, at the hands of overzealous cops. And you got some black cops out there that are like that too. Like I say, you know, when you address one, you have to address them all. But the news reports that we're seeing these days, and it's still happening. Shootings, cops are still going out and actually overusing their force, actually using deadly force when it's not even warranted. Now it's time to call those people to the carpet. It's time to say, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We want to live just like you do. We deserve that right. And how dare you try to take that right from us? That's all that I have for today for you guys, okay? More videos coming soon. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.